Hello and welcome back to another episode of Nobody Does It, FK Metta here on Football Manager 2022. We have built the nation of Latvia for another season and we've won 2 trophies in the meantime. There is no hidden third trophy unfortunately, but we've won 2. We're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about the save, talk about the season, and let's just get right into it, shall we? So before we quickly run through the new arrivals, I just want to again say thank you so much for all the support and all the new subscriptions over the past couple of days as well. We're up to 66 I believe at the moment, and when I restarted YouTube videos I believe I was at 49, so it's a pretty good increase for a channel my size with no promotion anywhere. I don't even post these videos on Twitter, but I'm really happy with that, so thank you very much for watching the videos. Yes, even if you're just popping in for a couple of minutes, couple of seconds, thanks very much. Hopefully you're enjoying the save. I am. We're going to just talk about our transfers here instead. So 4 signings came in, and as you'll see, we'll talk about them first. For £1 million we've brought Dean Close back to the club. Yep, he's back. So Dean Close was transfer listed by Porto, and I decided that we might as well take a punt on him. For £1 million we have the money to spend, and we've brought him in. He's had a pretty solid season back in the first team for us. He's not started every game, but good to have the Englishman back that we initially paid £110 for. Other signings, Prince Cube came in from Sundowns to be our new right back. He's had a decent season. He's not obviously as good as Tanadon Mudadom, but he's a solid fullback if you put him on support. His crossing is abysmal, but other than that, he's just a consistent, solid player across the board. Zimbabwean international. Good signing, I think, for the money that we've spent on him. And then a left back was brought in, David Zungu from Caljw Chiefs. Now, we'll talk about this one in a moment, but basically, we don't have our regular left back anymore, as you can probably tell. But we brought Zungu in as basically an emergency option. He's okay. He's about equivalent to what we had in Jurisic before, but left back is, I think, the position of need this transfer window. I think that's pretty obvious to say. And then the other player that we brought in was Paul Salisu from FC Midtjylland for £2.1 million. Our record transfer, 38 goals. It was his return from 46 games. He is a beast. Look at him. He is beautiful. Everything about him is good. Everything about him. We have 3 superb strikers. When we get to the league and the goals and everything like that, I'll show you how dominant our strikers have been this season. But Paul Salisu has joined and he's wonderful, isn't he? Look, he's just beautiful. On the outs, now obviously we knew about Mudadom. He's had a rubbish season with Antwerp, so good riddance. Nemanja Duričić we knew was leaving as well. Yegor Novikovs has left on a free transfer. Hopefully he gets picked up. Yeah, he's going to get picked up one of the top teams in the division. A good player, but we've got much better than him, and we don't want to just keep having unhappy players all the time on the roster. Some young players left, like him, and Puzarevskis left as well. That's a decent season actually for Jelgava. And Ekwe Paya finally left. We got rid of him to Smilten. He'll be okay for them, I think. And Edu also went to Smilten as well. So they've got a couple of our ex-players. But most importantly, as we talked about, Jalisic even left for Lokomotiva, £350,000. He was out of contract at the end of the season, and he's just not really going to get any better than what he is. So we figured we'll take the money, we'll get somebody in as a season replacement, which is what we've got in Zungu. On the loans out again, Donald Miller went out on loan. I forgot to mention about Donald Miller. Man United and Liverpool offered contracts for him before we tied him down to a new deal. He's 20 years old and I'm still not seeing it. Still not seeing it from him as a player for us going forward. And as you can see, in terms of the league, it was another unbeaten season in the league. 33 wins, 3 draws, and 118 goal difference, 102 points, just a dominating season. In terms of below us, it was the usual crowd of Liepāja, RFS Riga, and then Oda got a Champions League spot, a Europa League spot as well, because we finally had the coefficient raise, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. In the Champions League, the last season we got drawn against Man City in the knockout rounds, and as you can see, we were quite comfortably disposed of by Man City. A 7-1 aggregate loss, unfortunately, but they are also ridiculously strong right now. But we got qualified through 2 rounds of the qualifying rounds of the Champions League. We beat Vojvodina and Ludogorets quite comfortably over both legs. And then we got Chelsea, Barcelona and Olympiacos. And when I got that draw, I basically said to myself, if we can beat Olympiacos twice, we'll get into the Europa League. And that's what we did. We did lose, not horrendously, 2-0, 2-2-0s and 2-3-0s to Chelsea and Barcelona. And we beat Olympiacos 7-1. So you can't really complain too much about any of that. And we won the Latvian Cup, as we're pretty much doing all the time now. The Reputation is obviously still 3-star national at the moment, and our prize money has gone down 7 million, but the shirt sales are up to nearly 2,500. So oh yes, sponsorships up, broadcast revenues up, corporate and hospitality is up, and the matchday commercial has stayed the same. So again, we're continuing to grow all of the financial revenues of the club. So just quickly, I want to talk about the squad, and as you can see, if we go by the goals now, yeah, as you can see, we kind of went a bit crazy on the goal front this year with our strikers. So we talked about Paul Salusu, who had an unreal season for us, but let's talk about the main man, Silva. 31 goals, a quiet season for Silva, if we have to say. He's still a very good player. Now, realistically, he's not the level we should have anymore if we want to compete at the level we're competing at. But because this save only has a few more episodes left in it, I'm not going to do that, really. Like, normally, this is where I would replace Silva with the guys we've got and keep moving forward. I'm just going to keep Silva around, see how many goals he can actually get to. Another great season from our main man. 22 caps for the national team, 11 goals now as well. So 1 every 2 for the national team. Unreal goal scoring record since he's come in. Like, this was his weakest season, 13. Otherwise, every last season he's been 23 and above. And Dejan Nikolov has continued to be an unbelievable football player as well. He's still not really doing it for the North Macedonian national team, which is surprising. But for us, he's better than a goal a game now in the league. And he was 6 and 8 in the Champions League, 4 and 4 in the Cup. He is unreal. He is on 43 and 43 for the season. Like, I didn't think Nikolov would be this good when we got him in, but he's an unbelievable player. In terms of our assists, it was, a good season across the board from the assists from our midfielders as well. Kevin Thompson with 19 assists. He's getting better every single season. This is one of the best signings I've made for a free transfer. Rafael Durand as well. 1 goal, but 17 assists, as you do. Panda with a quieter season, but still a good season from the old reliable. 15 caps for Latvia now as well. Tilade also with a good, strong season with 10 assists from the left side as well. So 22 assists from our left-hand side. If you want to talk about the main man though, Yanis Grinbergs is unhappy again, and it was his weakest return so far for him as a player with Meta. He's kind of done now at this point. Now, he's only 4 goals off 100 career goals, and he's only 7 goals off 100 goals for Meta. I think the aim now is to get Grinbergs to 100 goals on both of those stats. That's my aim now. Get him up to 100, then we can let him go and play somewhere new. He's a 1.5-star player. We're just keeping him around now because we love him. Nothing else really to mention in terms of the squad. It's a lot of the same players as usual. Karpathian was wanted by Chelsea earlier in the season, but he's seemingly calmed down on that front now. If we look at our average rating, again, it's the strikers are just an unbelievable form, but almost everybody is in great form. The only player who played a lot of games who's under a 7 is David Zungu, who, I mean, Petrov's might be good enough for us, but he's also now 23, so it would be harsh to play him in that position every single week, I feel like, especially with the amount of games that we play back to back during the season. The finances, again, 78 million in the bank, 50 million to spend. We're loving life on the finances front at the moment. The club info screen, if I look, the info, that's what I want. So legends, Nikolov and Silva, I believe, have joined us. I'm sure it was me and Panda beforehand. We've got 4 people in the legends. 2 in the icons. Grinbergs is an icon. Grinbergs should be a legend. I don't know why he's not up there yet. And favourite staff is, just continuing to grow with our excellent squad that we've managed to build. The facilities are all the same. They're not letting us upgrade any further than that. In terms of youth candidates, it was a pretty weak window, I have to say. Sergei Petrovs came in. He's a mediocre goalkeeper. Putan's a very mediocre striker. And Lipan's could be half decent midfielder, but yeah, we seem to only produce strikers and goalkeepers, which is incredibly annoying. We did also sign one other player on a transfer in the window. It was Aldo Bussi, a Italian left back who is now out because he broke his lower leg. So that's going to really impact his development, but we brought him in as another left back option. Not as good, obviously, as what we brought in with Zungu, but I figured he might have the chance to improve, but I think that broken leg has already derailed his career, unfortunately. In terms of transfers in, we do have one confirmed signing already. It is Marlon Hurtado, who will be joining us in a couple of weeks from Barcelona SC, and yeah, he's just another midfield option. You can never have too many really good midfielders, I feel like, especially because we'll probably be moving on from Luna and Tora, with Thompson and Antonio basically being our central midfield starting pair now. And before we wrap up the league portion of the save, let's have a quick look at how our couples did in the Europa Conference League. So as I mentioned, if we look at the rules now, we have 5 spots for Europe, a second qualifying round spot for the winners, first qualifying for the second second place team, and 3 teams going to the Conference League second qualifying round. So we will have 5 teams to look through, including ourselves now in Europe. Also, just quickly, the goal stats. Apsa, who was our old player. He's had a good season actually for Tukums. I mean, he's going to be a Latvia international for us, I think now. Latvia want him. I would have kept him if we just didn't have players who were going to be well above him. I do also there, by the way. So yeah, we kind of dominated the goal scoring charge. Edgar's Apsa, I believe as well, was also our ex-player. Yep. So we are officially now just dominating the league's stats for strikers in this division. But if we have a look at the teams that finished in European positions last year, now I'm pretty confident it was the usual 3. It was. So, Latvia, how did you do? So they got past Pogon in the second qualifying round, but did drop out to Zelina 2-0 in the Conference League third playoff round, which is a very disappointing result. RFS went one further and got knocked out straight away in the second qualifying round by Fehérvár, who I don't even know who they are. Hungarian side. Yeah, I mean, that's poor, guys. Come on. But Riga got so close. They got past Trans, they got past Tel Aviv, and they won 1-0 in the first leg against Maccabi Haifa before falling 3-1 in Israel. It's the best any of these teams have done since the save started. Now, come on, lads. One more push. Now, with one of the teams going into the Champions League qualifying rounds, if they can get through a round of that, they get a lot more money, first of all, but also they can hopefully drop down into the later stages of Europa Conference League qualifying and maybe snatch a place. That's going to be the dream for the next couple of seasons for these guys. In terms of the Latvia national team, we had 2 friendlies against Gibraltar and Liechtenstein. We won both of them 1-0. It was pretty much just assistant had registered those, so I was like, whatever, we'll just play rubbish teams and beat them. And then we did win our Nations League Group C, Nations League C Group 2 by beating Hungary and the Faroe Islands 3-0 either side of the international break. We beat Macedonia 3-2, a 3-2 loss to Hungary, but then we easily beat North Macedonia 4-0 and Faroe Islands 4-1 to ensure that we topped the group and qualified as winners to go into Group B. And our Euros qualifying group has been drawn as well, with Holland, Kazakhstan, Poland and Switzerland. I mean, it's a tough group for a team that we've got, but we'll give it our go. If we can try and finish above Kazakhstan, pick up a couple wins, a couple draws would be nice. But that's pretty much going to do it for today's episode. There's not really much else to talk about, if I'm being honest. We've had an excellent season again. This will hopefully be up. You'll be watching this probably on Monday morning, I would imagine, or Monday afternoon. And realistically, 2-3 seasons left, and that'll be kind of the end of this save, unfortunately. I'm enjoying it. I'd love to keep playing it, but realistically, I want to play Football Manager 23 when it comes out. You guys will want to watch Football Manager 23 when it comes out. It would just be taking up time that I won't really have at that point when I've started my new job. I'm going to make a little video soon about my plans for the new game, what the save is as well, so hopefully you'll be there for that. But that's going to be it for today. Have a good one, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.